Hi, my name's Casey Patrick. Welcome to Kickoff with Casey, and Alabama's reign of terror is over. Clemson should have stayed on the bus, and Arch Manning did not look good in the shoe. All that and a little bit more coming right up. All right, so I don't know about you guys, but of course, I told y'all last week I was going to spend Saturday afternoon, starting with Saturday morning, over at Eric's house, and I was going to watch the Tennessee game. And I'm going to start with that. I know we had all kinds of other big stuff going on Saturday, but y'all know I'm a Tennessee fan. I'm not going to talk about Tennessee too long, but I thought the balls looked good. Joey Aguilar was a very pleasant surprise. I did not expect him to be as poised and as confident as he was. I knew he'd be athletic. I knew he could move. I liked watching him run and kind of running over people, especially on that first drive, just coming out early. Aguilar looked good. The rest of the offense looked a little bit closer to that 2022 product that we saw that I think a lot of Vol fans really want to see. And the defense took a little bit of a step back, but it's going to, and it should. Pierce got drafted in the first round. Jermod McCoy was out. Ricky Gibson's hurt. He's going to be out for a little bit extended time. So the defense should take a little bit of a step back, and that's okay. I don't think it's that big of a deal. If the offense could score 46 points a game or 45, whatever they ended up with the other day. What did they score? I got it right here. 45. I was thinking it was 46, but they won 45-26 over Syracuse. Tennessee looked really, really good. But again, I told you guys I'm not going to sit here and talk about Tennessee the whole time. So let's go on to the next thing. And really, the first thing that I think every podcast and TV show you're going to see that talks about college football, they're going to talk about Alabama and Florida State. I am too. I watched probably 95% of that game. I only got up to go use the bathroom. I was glued into the television the entire time. And not just because I was hate watching Alabama. I hate Alabama. I hate everything about Alabama. I don't even like the state. My mom lives down there. It's always hot and muggy. I hate it. So I wasn't just hate watching Alabama. Florida State went 2-10 last year. They went 13-1 the year before that. So I didn't really know what to expect out of them. Nobody else did either. But they got Gus Malzahn calling plays, and I love Gus Malzahn. And if anybody hates Alabama more than I do, it's that guy. Gus Malzahn has a love for beating Alabama. Auburn used to win 3 games a year, and one of them was Alabama, and that's why he kept his job. Gus Malzahn, Tommy Castellanos, the whole team. Squirrel White, former Tennessee player, made a great catch. They got a track star. I'm forgetting his name right now. That kid was fun to watch. Florida State's offense moving the ball around. I thought it was going to rain. The rain came up right before half. I thought it was going to rain through the whole second half, and I really didn't think Alabama had a shot if it started raining. But I will say I think Alabama played a little bit better in the second half, but it really didn't matter. Now, Florida State fans, here's the deal. I want you guys to know I think Florida State's a much better team. Obviously, you averaged 15 points last year. You scored 31 to beat Alabama. You're already twice as good statistically than you were last season. Congratulations to you guys. I know you guys are on cloud 9 right now, and that's good. Stay up there as long as you can. I'm going to talk about Alabama, and that's because I'm happy. I'm elated that their reign of terror is over. Like I said at the beginning of the show. And it's not just because they only won 9 games last year. It's not just because they lost to Florida State in week 1. Alabama's still going to be a good team, yes, but it's not the same. It's just like what Tommy Castellanos said earlier in the offseason. There is no Nick Saban to save them. And that's a legitimately very genuine statement. I think a lot of people might hear that, or they may think of that, and they're like, "Oh, it's just a joke or whatever." No, of course we know Nick Saban ain't coming back. No, literally, Kalen DeBoer is not ready for this, or he's not equipped for it. I don't know what it is. I don't know Coach DeBoer as well as a lot of other people do, but he doesn't look like he wants to even be on the sideline. There were moments in Nick Saban's coaching tenure, which he's the greatest coach of all time in college football, in my opinion. So take it for what you want. But I wasn't the biggest fan of the way he treated people on the sideline. But I also think you can't coddle kids too much. I mean, you can't just, go up and just give them everything they want and pat them on the head and tell them everything's okay. You can't be too much of one way or the other. I don't think, my personal opinion. And DeBoer wasn't too nice. He wasn't too mean. He was just emotionless. It looked like he didn't care. I cared more about that game Saturday than he did. That's what it looked like to me. I was excited every time Castellanos ran for a first down. I'm high-fiving people I don't even know. And DeBoer, somebody would score. He didn't care. He didn't care if he scored. He didn't care if the other team scored. He just sat there and twiddled his thumbs the whole time. It was really weird to watch. It was hard to understand. I mean, sometimes you can tell what coaches are thinking just by their body language. You couldn't read anything off of Kalen DeBoer, which would have been okay if they're winning 45-0. But when you're down 2 touchdowns and you're just sitting there biting your fingernails on national television, I don't know what to think. Now, Alabama fans have been saying this for a little bit now. He's not ready. We need to move on, whatever. I don't care what they do. Stick with him for the next decade. I don't really care what happens. But I think somebody told me, this could be wrong. Somebody told me his buyout was like $20 million? Or is it more than that? Anything starts with $1 million. Maybe he just wants to be fired. Maybe he just wants to go ahead and be like, Alabama's not for me. Just go ahead and give me my few M's in the bank account and I will go back home. Wherever he's from. I don't even know. I don't care. I don't think he cares either. I think he's ready to go back home with his money. That's what he looked like Saturday on the sideline. And I think Alabama fans, as much as you may not like anything that I have to say, you probably agree with that. Anybody that watched him Saturday, I think you had to come away kind of flabbergasted by the way he acted because there was nothing. There was nothing to go off of. Now, I'm sure there was no camera that was on him the entire time. I didn't see him the entire time, but every time the camera panned over to him, he's just sitting there doing nothing. And it just didn't make any sense to me. So that's the first thing, and that's why I say their reign of terror is over, because they don't even have the right mentality anymore. And I think everybody knows that. Like that's what really made Alabama, the fact that they knew they were better than you. I don't think this new team of Alabama, I don't think they think they're better than anybody, especially the way they played last Saturday. Go back and watch the tape. You got guys on the field just jogging around. They look like DeBoer. Uninterested, don't care. Not my problem. I think it's beautiful. It's wonderful. All of the Alabama fans that showed up after 2007, you're about to return back to the 90s. You're going to see what that was like, which I think I've said this before on this show. I love the 90s. I'd be happy to go back. But we'll go into the next thing. Clemson and Clemson LSU. I ended up I told y'all to take LSU. I think Clemson was like 3.5-point favorites, which you get 3 points for being at home. So I guess Vegas kind of had them at even. But Klubnik in that offense scored 10 points. I don't even know who their offensive coordinator is anymore. But Clemson hasn't been much of anything on offense since Dabo Swinney's been there. Now, Deshaun Watson could throw the ball around. But other than him, like other than legitimately a generational player at quarterback, I'm not real sure what a good offense for Clemson looks like. I mean, you had Trevor Lawrence too, but I mean, I think those teams were led by the defense. Saturday, their defense was good, and Garrett Nussmeier, I still think he's going to be a career backup in the NFL, personal opinion. But he was just good enough on Saturday to get the win, and he didn't have to be great. When your defense only gives up 10 points on the road, and this whole thing with Clemson riding the bus to, like, they walk out of the locker room to get on a bus and drive around for 10 minutes so ESPN can do their little video that they're doing. And then they get back off the bus and run down a hill. I think it's kind of goofy, but whatever. It doesn't matter to me, and it doesn't really affect me. But there's a part of me that when I see when I see Dabo Swinney and he does all this stuff for himself, like he's the main character. He wants to run down by himself. He wants to tap the rock or whatever. He wants to do everything. He wants to be the center of attention. Whatever. I'm glad he lost. I'm glad he lost. Now, the kids on that team, I don't even know them. I'm sure they got some decent people on the team. That's fine. I'm glad he lost. I hate the way he goes about being all about him and all about me. And LSU, as much as I don't like Brian Kelly either, I kind of expected them to go on the road and get the win because Clemson's just always overrated. They're going to go back to the ACC and they're going to push Boston College around, and everybody's going to say, "Oh, look at how good Clemson is," and they're not. They're not. They're not bad. And to be fair, I know I'm a Tennessee fan. I think Clemson probably would beat Tennessee. I think Clemson's probably a better team than Tennessee, but Clemson's not number 4 in the country. We saw it Saturday. They're not number 4 in the country. We're going to do one other thing real quick, and then we're going to take our first break. Arch Manning at Texas. They were at Ohio State on Saturday. I know the rest of the country was really excited for this game. I mean, it was the first game on in the morning, and I, like I said, I was watching Tennessee Syracuse, but Arch Manning. He didn't look good. I'm not saying anything new or anything that you guys didn't already think, but he didn't look comfortable. But I will tell you exactly what he looked like. He looked like a 4-star quarterback that had been thrown in front of the thrown into the wolves. That's what he looked like because that's what he is. I know he's a 5-star. I know he was a 5-star coming out of high school. He was a 5-star because of his last name. I think Arch Manning is a good quarterback. I think he's got a good arm. I think he's got some nice wheels on him. He's a glorified high-end 3-star or 4-star quarterback. And that's the truth, in my opinion. That's what the name of the show should be, my opinion. But Arch was never that great. I think he was really, really good. And Arch Manning, I mean, probably, I think by the time he's done at Texas, he'll show plenty of flashes and he will be drafted and he'll go on to the NFL. I don't think he's going to be great in the NFL. But Arch Manning, if you go back and watch his high school highlights, go back and watch him. He's playing against 2A kids in Mississippi. Yeah, he looked good. I mean, he got the 5-star because of his last name. There's a reason why Quinn Ewers was drafted really late in this last draft, and he still started most of the games and played most of the time over Arch Manning last year at Texas because he's a better quarterback. And I know Arch was young, and that's not really a fair comparison, and that's okay. But Arch looked like a high-end 3-star quarterback, low-end 4-star quarterback that had been thrown up against an Ohio State defense. Ohio State is still one of the best teams in the country. I will fight this till the day I die. If you win a national championship, you should be number 1 in the AP polls or whatever poll the next season. You should be number 1 until you lose. When you win a championship, you should be number 1 until you lose. I don't care if your coach left. I don't care if the stadium got up and walked out. I don't care if your quarterback left. I don't care what happened. If you won the national championship, you should be number 1 the next season. I'm like an old man talking to the clouds at that point, and I get it. That's fine. But I wanted to say that. We are going to take our first break. So y'all make sure you stay here and hang out with us. When we get back, we're going to run down the rest of some of the top 25 matchups. We're also going to talk about some of the other bigger matchups that happened. We had a few Sunday games. We'll talk about all that. So make sure you don't go anywhere.
He shoots and he scores!
Got closer. All new Sportsbook, the latest gaming machines, live horse racing, and more. The Mid Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Winning just got closer.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
Hi, welcome back to Kickoff with Casey. My name's Casey Patrick. Well, we just got done talking about Arch Manning to Texas at Ohio State. I don't want to talk about that game too much longer, but Julian Sand from Ohio State looked pretty good. I did like him. I meant to mention that before the break. Some of the other games, Sunday we had South Carolina, Virginia Tech. Ended up being a really defensive battle. I had a fantasy football draft, I'll be honest with you guys, so I didn't get to see every play of that game. I'm calling it a defensive battle because the score was really low. Every time I looked up, it looked like the offenses were messing something up. So I think South Carolina's defense is legit. I think it is a good defense, but I think you can also kind of chalk up Sunday's performance a little bit to the fact that Virginia Tech just isn't very strong on offense. Had a lot of trouble moving the ball. Miami and Notre Dame. I felt like, if you're Notre Dame, obviously this kind of a loss in the first game is a lot better than last season. But again, if you're Notre Dame, you lost the first game last year. You ended up in the national championship anyway. You lost a 3-point game to Miami, who is 10 in the country, top 10 team in the country. You lost by 3. A hard-fought game between two really good teams, and that was actually a lot of fun to watch. Carson Beck was a lot better than I thought he would be, and maybe I won't dislike him so much now that he's out of that god-awful red jersey. Georgia fans, go ahead and be mad. I don't care. But I still don't think I still think Carson Beck is a little bit overrated. He had a great game Sunday, but Notre Dame, now their quarterback C.J. Carr, he had been in the system. I think last year he was either a freshman or redshirt freshman last year, taking over this year after Riley Leonard went to the Colts. Riley Leonard, I was huge on him. I really liked him at when he was at Duke, and then of course he transferred over to Notre Dame. And at Notre Dame, C.J. Carr was his backup, along with Steve Angeli, who was the Syracuse quarterback, who is a really good quarterback, by the way. I think Syracuse offense is pretty good. But C.J. Carr, he's had quite a bit of time in that offense. And the one thing I really didn't like for Notre Dame is at the beginning of the game, whenever C.J. was trying to move the ball up down the field, a lot of his throws were close stuff. It didn't really look like – it looked like an offense with training wheels on it. And I felt like with a young man that you've had in your system for a while, you ought to be able to, push it a little bit. Notre Dame didn't really push it at all, what I saw. I know they did throw the ball down the field a little bit later on. But Miami looked solid. The defense was really good. The line got a lot of pressure on Carr. Carr was running for his life quite a bit Sunday. But that another big matchup. That was a lot of fun. But we'll go ahead and get into some of these top 25 matchups. Of course, we talked about Texas, Ohio State already. Penn State, 46-11 to Nevada. I think that was kind of what everybody expected. I don't think the Nittany Lions covered the spread, so I'm sorry to all you out there that are worried about that end of it. Georgia taking down Marshall 45-7. Kirby Smart probably had a stroke after he gave up the 7 points. Notre Dame, of course, we just talked about that. Sorry, 27-24. Oregon 59-13 over Montana State. Dante Moore, I'm telling you right now, if you haven't seen him, go back and watch some of these highlights. Go watch Dante Moore play football. He's a good quarterback. I think Oregon's going to take a step back from the last few years. I think they had really, really strong teams. I don't know if Oregon is that strong, but at the quarterback spot, I really like Moore, so keep your eye on him. Let's see. We talked about Alabama. We talked about LSU. We talked about Miami. Arizona State playing Northern Arizona. Um, Arizona State won 34-17. I didn't watch that game. Don't know nothing about it. What I do know is Arizona State doesn't have Cam Scatterbo anymore, and I know that they gave up 17 points to Northern Arizona. The only thing I know about Northern Arizona is the commercials that you see for their internet classes. Illinois 52-3 over Western Illinois. I told y'all Western Illinois wouldn't have nothing for Illinois. I was not going out on a limb there, but I was right. South Carolina, we talked about that, 24-11 against Virginia Tech. Michigan, 34-17, same score as Arizona State. Same kind of reasoning with me. How did you give up 17 to New Mexico? Well, go back and watch that game. The Lobos, they can move the ball. New Mexico, actually a lot of fun to watch on Saturday. I will hate watch Michigan because I feel like Woodson stole a Heisman Trophy from the University of Tennessee about 30 years ago. But that's a conversation for a different day. But I do hate watch Michigan. I watched a little bit of that game. New Mexico, actually, they were a lot of fun. They moving the ball up and down the field. Maybe not all up and down the field. I'm trying to make them sound a little bit better than they really were. But 17 points against Michigan and a solid defense, pretty good performance for the Lobos. Florida, 55-0 over Long Island University. Gators should be ashamed of themselves. I meant to look up how much Long Island made for playing this game, but I have no clue. I never went to go see that. SMU defeated East Texas A&M 42-13. I've never heard of East Texas A&M until I wrote down their name 15 minutes ago. Well, it's more than 15. I've been talking for 20. Let's see. Going on to the next. Kansas State. This is an interesting one. Kansas State played North Dakota. I kind of expected Kansas State to get back into a good rhythm after falling to Iowa State. And they beat North Dakota, but they only got them by 3. 38-35. It was not Avery Johnson's fault. Avery had like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. That kid is the truth. He's the real deal. But defense might not be. Giving up 35 points to North Dakota. Not a good sign for the Wildcats. Oklahoma 35-3 over Illinois State. That makes sense. Texas A&M gave up 24 points to the Roadrunners. Now, I was not hate watching A&M because I don't really hate them. I really don't care about them at all. But I did watch a little bit of that game because I love to root for the Roadrunners of University of Texas at San Antonio. I don't really have a reason to be a UTSA fan other than the fact that that's always been one of the stops that I like to play at whenever I'm playing the college football video game. If UTSA offers me the offensive coordinator job, I'm out. I love to go call the plays. But Texas A&M able to get the W there, 42-24. Marcel Reed, I think his name, quarterback for Texas A&M. I like him. He's got some athleticism, but A&M giving up 24 points to UTSA might be a little bit concerning. I might need to get my eyes on the Aggies defense. Indiana 27-14 to Old Dominion. I think the spread was a lot bigger on that than 13 points, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was a lot bigger than that. Indiana, of course, last year Kurt Cignetti had a great season, but that start is a little bit concerning for me. Just a little bit. Oh, man, look at me. I'm going bald. I was trying to hide my bald spot. I don't know if that's going to work. Oh, well. It's Kurt Cignetti out at Indiana. I think they are going to have a little bit of a drop-off. If you watched a lot of football on Saturday, what you realized was I saw anywhere from 2 to at least or maybe 4 different kids that had transferred out of Indiana and were playing for a different program. So Cignetti's got to get a different team ready to go. He's lost some of the kids on the team that helped him last year. So they've got a lot of questions they got to figure out. I think they should have beat Old Dominion by more than 13 points, but we'll learn more about them as the season goes on. Ole Miss beat the crap out of Georgia State 63-7. Iowa State continues to look good. Rocco Becht, another pretty good day for him, 55-7 over South Dakota. Texas Tech, they bought their way into the top 25, 67-7 over Arkansas Pine Bluff. A good start for those guys. We talked about Tennessee Syracuse. I'm not going to do that anymore. Boise State, man, did y'all see this? Of course, This was the early game. This was on. I think this was on Thursday, right? I think the Boise State game was Thursday. Well, anyway, Boise State lost 34-7. I can't remember who they were playing. I had it written down, but it really just not a good showing for the Broncos. But either way, that's all from week 1. We get into week 2 next week. We got a lot more big matchups coming. I'm excited. I know you guys are. I know we're all really happy to have college football back. And sorry, I had my computer click up on me. But I'm going to be back next week for episode 3 of Kickoff with Casey. I'm excited. I'm going to go watch the East Tennessee State game. It comes on 2:30 this Saturday. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. We've got a few other matchups. I tried to pull them up on my computer here so I could see what was coming up next week. Texas is they're going to get a much easier matchup with San Jose State. Boise State's going to take on Eastern Washington. I'm assuming tomorrow, I think the new top 25 comes out tomorrow morning. I think Boise State's going to be out. Florida State's going to be in. And you take that to the bank. But before we end off, I'm going to take my last commercial, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about week 2.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
He shoots, and he scores!
Got closer. All new Sportsbook, the latest gaming machines, live horse racing, and more. The Mid Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Winning just got closer.
Welcome back to Kickoff with Casey. My name's Casey Patrick. And before I let you guys go, we're going to just talk real quick about some of the week 2 matchups. Texas Tech, they got Kent State coming to town. Iowa State has Iowa coming to town. That's going to be a lot of fun. I just got done talking about Iowa State. Those big rivalry games are always a lot of fun. Indiana's got Kennesaw State coming to town. SMU's got Baylor. Illinois is on the road at Duke. Okay, that'll be fun. Utah State at Texas A&M. Oklahoma State at Oregon. The powerhouse of Austin Peay going all the way down to Athens to take on the lowly Bulldogs of Georgia. Let's see what else we've got going on. I probably should have wrote some of these big matchups down. I was so excited to get into this and start talking about Alabama. That's how much I hate Alabama. I was so excited to get in here and talk about this. I didn't even write down week 2 stuff. Oh, well. Congratulations to all of you that aren't Alabama fans, though. I know that we've all been waiting on this day since the moment Nick Saban left Miami to go to Tuscaloosa. I think this is it. We'd had several moments where we thought Alabama's reign was over. I believe it really is over now. So congratulations to the rest of the college football world. You made it. We made it past Nick Saban's time. So not really worried about that anymore. Let's see, just looking at a few. Ooh, Michigan at Oklahoma. Man, that looks like a good matchup. Well, now this is funny. Before I end off, I'm going to tell you guys one more thing. Alabama, I'm going to put them on upset alert. Guess who's coming to town? UL Monroe. That was like the first team that Nick Saban ever lost to when he got to Tuscaloosa. It was like, I think it was 2007, 2008. They lost to University of Louisiana Monroe. I remember that. I'm going to put Alabama on upset alert. Maybe Tuscaloosa, man, that place will riot if they lose that game. But thank you for coming and hanging out with me. Like I said, I should have had some of these matchups written down, but thanks for coming and hanging out. I've been really enjoying doing this. So if any of you guys got anything you want to tell me, got anything you want to talk about, just shoot it in the comments or shoot me an email. We'll see you guys next week, and have fun Saturday.